when I become the NFL commissioner, here are the moves that I would make. The first big move I would make is allowing teams to pick their opponent for the first and second round of the playoffs. Here is how it would work. In the first round of the playoffs, the 1 seed gets the bye. We still have 7 teams. So the division winners, the 2 seed, the 3 seed, well, the 4 seed isn't picking anyone because they get who's left over, but the 2 seed would pick from the remaining wild card teams. The 3 seed would pick from the 2 remaining wild card teams, and then the 4th seed would get whoever's left over. In the second round of the playoffs, the 1 seed would pick from the remaining teams, but it cannot be the 2 seed. You could debate on this aspect of it. Let's say hypothetically that the 2 seed, the 3 seed, and the 4 seed all win in the wild card weekend. You could probably argue me into allowing the 1 seed to pick the 2 seed, but for this instance, if I was doing it, I would spare the 2 seed. I think they deserve a home game in the divisional round, so the 1 seed would get a pick from the 3 or the 4. That's how I would do it. Now, some of you might be asking, why not bring the 4 in the first round of playoffs in the wild card weekend? Why not allow the 4th seed to be picked by the 2 or the 3? The reason why I'm going to exclude them, even though they might be the worst team remaining, is I think if you win your division, you deserve a home playoff game. If you take care of business, if you win 5 games in division or 6, and you win your division, regardless of how bad you are, if you're 8-9, 9-8, whatever, you deserve a home playoff game. And for that reason, I don't think you should be able to be picked. Outside of that, pick whoever you want. The 5th seed, the 6th seed, the 7th seed, doesn't matter. Now, my 2 reasons for this. Number 1, it is significantly more fair and just makes more sense. If you're the 2 seed, the 1 seed obviously gets the bye. If you're the best team in your conference, you get the bye. If you're the 2 seed, you get the home game, but you get no guarantee that you get to play the easiest team. Does that make any sense? Imagine you go 13-4, and the 4th seed goes 9-8, and because of injuries or because of teams getting hot and cold or because of matchups or because of weather, the 4th seed ends up playing the easiest team, which could be the 5th seed, and then you, the 2 seed, has to play this hot team who's won 5 out of their last 5 or 4 out of their last 5. It doesn't make sense. The 2 seed, and then subsequently the 3 seed, they should be able to pick the easiest team, the best matchup, the team they think they can beat. It only makes sense. The whole point in getting the 2 seed is you get the easiest matchup, which normally is 7 seed, but it doesn't always work out that way. The other reason, and I think this is just as big, is just pure entertainment factor. New rivalries, the disrespect. Imagine you are the 5 seed. You're 12-5, you're in the same division as the number 1 seed, so you just miss out on the home playoff game, and the number 2 seed picks you. They think you're the easiest matchup. They think you're like in the playoffs this past season in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills ended up playing the Broncos. In this scenario, they most likely would have still played them. It would have been between the Steelers and the Broncos. Both those teams were about even, but I believe the Bills would have probably picked the Broncos. But imagine they picked the Chargers, the clear best wildcard team, and the Bills were just like, no, we want you. We want you. The team with the most wins, by far the best offense, and also the best defense out of the wildcard teams. We want you in Buffalo. We think we can beat you. Does that not add something to the matchup that they want you specifically? I surely think it does. And same thing in the NFC. Imagine the Eagles go in division and are like, no, we want the Commanders. And they ended up playing the Commanders later in the playoffs. But the Eagles in the first round of the playoffs say, we want the Commanders. We want to get that win back because they had lost them earlier in the season. We want them again. Think about the rivalries that this would build. Getting picked. We got selected. Imagine you're the head coach of a wildcard team, and they're like, yeah, the 2 seed picked us. They think we're the easiest matchup. And the same thing in the divisional round. Imagine you're the 3 seed, or let's say there's the 4th seed and the 7th seed both won, as well as the 2 seed. Well, I guess the 2 seed couldn't win, but you get the point. Imagine you're the 3 seed, And instead of picking the wild card team that's still remaining, the 1 seed picks you. We've won 12 games, and this wild card team has won 9, and you're going to pick us to play? Just the disrespect, the rivalries, the fights before the games. I mean, it would be crazy. The media, it's a whole new angle that hasn't been developed yet in the NFL. Okay, now into some other things. And this is going to be hot take. I think a lot of people will agree with that first, picking the playoff teams. Most people will probably agree with that. This is going to be hot, but it's going to be done, and it's going to be beautiful. 70% of your salary must be to players that you drafted or signed as undrafted free agents. Now, some of you are like, this doesn't make any sense. It makes total sense. The NFL is losing that 2000s, maybe 2010s, early 2010s feel to it, where you got drafted, and for the most part, and I'm not saying no big name signed, I get it, but these players, Ben Roethlisberger stayed, Tom Brady stayed, Peyton Manning stayed, these guys, Matt Ryan stayed, Joe Flacco, I mean, these guys stayed. The big guys stayed on their teams. They weren't, after a rookie contract was up, they weren't getting a franchise tag for 3 seasons. The teams were doing right by the players, and the players were doing right by the teams. I think nowadays, Saquon Barkley, I love him as a player, signing with the division rival and winning the Super Bowl, is that really in the fabric of football? The Giants drafted well. They drafted Saquon Barkley. And I'm not saying he should be an indentured servant to New York. I think he should be able to leave if he wants. But part of this is teams are encouraged to sign their players that they drafted because 70%, at least, the minimum, 70% of your salary cap that you've spent has to be on players that you drafted. So the Giants they're going to want to sign him, and they might overpay for him because they need their talent. And then the same thing with Saquon Barkley. The reason why it's going to be unlikely for him to sign with the Eagles is because the Eagles can only spend 30% of their salary cap on players from other teams. So both ways, both the player and the team has an incentive to stay where they were drafted. Now in the instances where they're getting disrespected or the team won't let them play, obviously we're allowing that 30%. We're allowing some guys to be traded, some guys to be signed. You get the point. Overall, though, I think it makes sense if we can keep these players on the teams that drafted them. Next one is going to be grass-only fields. Now, this isn't a hot take by any means. Every player asked for this. A good chunk of the fields are grass. I don't care. It's more expensive. It doesn't matter. Football should be played on grass. It's really that simple. Soccer should as well. I mean, that's not a controversial take, but turf fields, I mean, I get it saves money. It's ridiculous, though. Next one is going to be unlimited challenges on anything. I don't care if it's pass interference. I don't care if it could literally be anything you want. If a fan comes onto the field and you want to challenge that they impeded it and you need a redo, whatever, you can challenge anything you want on one condition. If you lose the challenge, you have no more challenges. So you can challenge 8 things a game if you want, 22 things. If you win your challenges, excellent. But you lose remaining challenges if it fails, and you get a 10-yard penalty. Now, some of you are like, what? A 10-yard penalty? That's ridiculous. Look, the reason why I want this to be done is, number one, the referees are sometimes blowing calls. And I think it is fair if something is obvious. Keyword obvious. I think teams, if a referee has 6 obvious missed calls, I think teams should be able to get all those corrected. But they cannot be challenging 50-50 calls. That's not how this works. If a referee makes a close call, you're risking it. If you want to risk the 10-yard penalty and losing your challenges, you're risking it. But I think unless it's clear and obvious, we're not challenging everything. But I do think teams should be allowed to challenge obvious things. If 99% of fans, 99's pushing, if 95% of fans are like, yeah, that was a blown call, but it was something that wasn't challengeable, that can't happen. If something is obvious to all the fans, it should be able to be challenged, assuming you didn't waste one earlier in the game on a 50-50 call. Yeah, anything should be challenged. But, we want to scare them a little bit. We don't want coaches challenging everything, so that's why we add the penalty. That's why we add you lose your remaining challenges. And I think that makes sense, It takes away the referees missing a big one late, but it also disincentivizes coaches from challenging the 5-yard holding call, whatever. You don't want them challenging stuff in the first minute of the game that's inconsequential, but you want the coaches to be able to challenge anything if it's big. Next one is going to be overtime is from the 2.5-yard line, a single play. Whoever wins the coin toss gets to pick if they are on offense or defense. I think this, number one, gets rid of the tie. I hate ties. It doesn't make sense. Number two, it keeps players from getting injured or tired. Some of these games in overtime, it's like, oh my gosh, we're just tired. I think it should be quick. Overtime should be one quick play. 2.5-yard line, the winner of the coin toss gets to pick if they go on offense or defense. I think this makes the most sense. It's intriguing. You get to see which do coaches trust their offense or their defense more. You get the point. It's quick. It's exciting. You go to a long commercial break, and then we see who wins. Okay, next couple of things. These ones don't matter that much, but I would just personally like to see them. We need to stop modernizing NFL jerseys. I'll give a few examples. The Rams, the Chargers, the Jets, and the Broncos. These are modernized uniforms that were all better before. Now, there are still some uniforms that aren't modernized that I don't like, but that's okay. I don't have to personally like the color scheme of the Raiders. That's their logo. That's their color scheme. It's whatever. The Raiders have a fine uniform by my metrics. Some teams that are, have newer uniforms-ish, Ravens, the Eagles, the Jaguars, the Steelers, these are new-ish uniforms. When I say new-ish, I don't mean they were completely redone, but, Nike got a hold of the jerseys, and Nike changed them all a little bit. These are new-ish jerseys with, maybe a little bit brighter colors, but they're still, they're the classics. They look nice. The Los Angeles Rams uniforms look stupid. Like, I'm going to be honest, whoever constructed those, they look stupid. The Chargers uniforms, do they look terrible? No, but they had a massive downgrade. The Chargers' old uniforms look way better. Same thing with the Jets. Same thing with the Broncos. Next one. And people are going to hate me for this. You must enter an NFL stadium with the colors that they allow, and that can be whatever the team decides, or you must put on the shirt. So it's not going to be a weird thing where the team says you need to wear pink and you don't want a pink shirt, so you got to go waste money. No. Here are the options. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. The Baltimore Ravens can say everyone must wear purple or black for this game, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a polo, whether it's a jersey, it doesn't matter. Now, if you're an opposing fan, what you're going to do is the shirt on your seat, it's going to be purple or black, and you just wear it around your neck. I'm not saying opposing fans, need to be wearing a Ravens shirt. It's not like a dictatorship. But I like that overhead angle where we get that drone footage, and 90% of the stadium is wearing black. And we have a few fans that are forced to wear that black shirt around their neck, but they're still, they're wearing their Steelers jersey. That's fine. But I don't like looking at this. The NBA used to do this where the Golden State Warriors, everybody would wear yellow, and the Penn State, the football team still does this, the whiteout. Can we get some of those? I mean, why can't we get that drone shot and, everybody's wearing blue or whatever color the team wants? But I think the team should be able to say on your ticket, if you want to come into the stadium, you're either wearing blue or you're going to at least, at the minimum, wear one around your neck. But we're not having this, these NBA and NFL, and I know this is an NFL commissioner, but same thing with NBA. We're getting these rich people that are going to games, and they're on their phone, and they're trying to record TikToks. Pro sporting events should be the Indiana Pacers. It should be Indianapolis residents or Indiana residents. And I'm not saying no one from out of state can come, but it should be the heart of the city. It should be diehard fans. It shouldn't be this thing that just rich people show up to and they're like, oh, we don't even know when to get loud. I mean, some of these Los Angeles and New York, it's like, do they even know when to get loud? Doesn't look like it. Okay, and last one, and this one also, it's like, does it really matter? Not really. It's not going to improve the game, but I think players, coaches, and referees should all be forced to have post-game press conferences. How many people? It's up to you. I think we should be able to get the captains, 3 or 4 people, however many captains each team has, a referee, and the head coach. Those should all be forced to speak after the game, but they should all be allowed to say whatever they want. The players should be able to cuss. The players should be able to say, this guy, if I see him, I'm going to beat his bleep. The referees, I want to hear what they say. We never get to hear from the refs. It's like they made this call and it's controversial. Can we hear what they think? I mean, I'd really like to hear, they're like, yeah, it was close. It'd be really cool if we heard after, there's a super close call, it went to review, and we hear after the game that they ended up changing the call, and there's 7 referees, 5 of them wanted to change it, 2 didn't. Like, I'd like to know that information. I think that information would be cool to hear. Same thing with players and coaches, We're such a quote-unquote family-friendly ordeal, and it's like, man, this just isn't football. We need to bring that toughness back. A player should be able to say XYZ, whatever they want to say. Next thing on the docket is going to be no Thursday night football. I know it's a hot take. No Wednesday night, no Friday night, no Saturday night. Saturday night in playoffs is fine, but none of this extra football nonsense. Sunday 1 o'clock, Sunday at 4, Sunday night, and Monday. And I'm even really not sure about Monday. Football, it is great because, number one, we have 17 games, but, soon it's going to be 25. We don't have that many games. Every game matters a lot. The MLB, not the MLB, the NBA and the MLB, they have so many games. It's like the NBA's got 82. The MLB, I don't even know. I really don't know. It's part of the reason why nobody cares about the MLB. It's like, how many games do you have? Sometimes you play 2 games in one day. Who knows? Who cares? I mean, it really doesn't matter who wins what game. In the NFL, every game matters. And taking away games on Thursday, it doesn't change with that. Every game still matters. But it's like tradition. We need that tradition. Old jerseys. I want those old CBS, Fox broadcast. We need hard hits back. Less roughing the passers. Less late hits out of bounds. I mean, if a dude's got 1 foot on the white and he gets smacked, that's fine. If you punch somebody, obviously that's a penalty. If you do something dirty, it's a penalty. But it's like a guy's got 1 foot on the white line and you hit him and that's a penalty. Are you serious? But yeah, Thursday Night Football's got to go. I mean, the product's terrible. It's just a sham. And all these extra games. Sunday should be the day of football. I don't mind keeping Monday Night Football because, it's closer to Sunday and Thursday's so far out. It's early. You can't go Saturday because of college football. You can't go Friday because of high school football. Thursday's the odd man out. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Last one I'd like to say, and this one isn't super important because I don't think tanking is, in the NBA it's a big issue. In the NFL, not really because it's hard to tank in the sport of football. I just think there should be a lottery, a straight lottery. If you are one of the 10 worst teams, you get a 10% chance at getting the first pick, so on and so forth. Nothing else. There's nothing else to expand on that with.